Well, g'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. All right, we're going to move to the next step of the charcuterie after the course. From the course, you come home and you've got to care for the meat. I've done that for a week and we're moving forward to the next step. Now, a lot of the recipes are out of a charcuterie diary. As I said in the other video, this is one of the guys who came to the course. He and taught us a fair bit about it. A lot of the recipes are out of this, and also the way to treat it afterwards. I'm going to put a affiliate link down below, an Amazon affiliate link. Disclaimer, yep, I get a small amount of money out of it, but it costs you nothing extra. And it is well worth a read. I've read through and the sense of humor in some of it is just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love this book. So we've got our bacon sections. Both these bacons have been done in brine, which isn't according to the book. This one is actually the gammon brine out of the book. And this one is just a commercial commercial maple brine, which is really for hams, but that's going to work fine. Now we're going to hot smoke it. So the brining is going to keep some smoke in it. If I'd salt cured it, then I would have tended to cold smoke it. But yeah, with hot smoking, it's just going to help to keep some moisture in the bacon. So both of these need to be emptied out, washed, and then put back in the fridge. So we'll get them prepared in a second. Next up, we have pancetta. This one has a salt cure on it, and again we need to wash that off, and from washing it off this one gets hung up. So that's it, it just gets hung up to dry once it's had the salt cure on it. This is the belly cut, 2 pieces of belly cut. Americans would call this bacon just flat out. For Australians it's streaky bacon. This one here has the eye in it, and generally American bacon doesn't have the eye in it. For Australians, this tends to be a shortcut bacon. So we will be doing both parts of the belly, the top as bacon, the bottom part as pancetta. And the pancetta doesn't get smoked, it just gets dry aged. Here we have the Capocollo, which is the neck cut. For Australians and British, it's the Scotch fillet. For Americans, it is the Boston butt. So yeah, it's a piece of shoulder muscle and makes a wonderful cured meat. So for this one we need to wash it off, and then we can coat it with some herb on the outside, then we wrap it and hang it that way. So here's the bacon pieces. As you can see, this one's a lot bigger. It was from the bigger end, but being pumped with brine, it's got the brine immersed through it. You can also see the color difference between the two. Again, being pumped, it's puffed it up. This one was a darker brine, so it's taken some of the color into it, and it's also cured it a bit more deeply, whereas this has still got that puffed up flesh. Still cured, but it hasn't colored down the same way. Now for the bacon, they're just going to go in the fridge at the moment. We'll pull them back out tomorrow and go with the smoking on them. Moving on to our pancetta, you can see that cure coloration. Also, this is a lot stiffer than the bacon. Because this was done with an external salt rub, it's pulled it's pulled a lot of water out of it. So that's stiffened it up. All right, so it's time to hang it up. I don't have a lard needle. What I do have is an awl, which will work for the job. The other option is to use a knife, poke a hole in with a knife, but doing it that way you can tend to get some expansion. So we're just gonna go through, keeping our fingers out of the way. And so we'll just pull our thread through, pull it back, and same on the other end. We'll actually put a third one in here just to help it to hang straight. And with the help of my helpful assistant, just going to use the ruler to hold a length. Okay, having the ruler in there means that we can keep it tight against those first two and pull it tight for this third one. And that'll help it to hang in a straight line. Now down the bottom, I'm going to put another thread in just so I can hang the tag off it. So on the tag, we're going to have pancetta, which this is, the date that we're hanging at, the starting weight and the goal weight. Weigh them up once we've got everything set. First up, we're just going to put our tag on. All right, our wet weight at hanging is 1026.
Am I just running 1026 kg?
No, 1026 grams. So 1026 grams, divide by 100 times 70 gives us 70%. So our goal weight is 718 grams. And that's why we use metric for this instead of pounds. So much easier to calculate. Last up, we have some collagen wrapper here. And that is for our Capocollo. Now, Capocollo, as I said, you can put a crust over the outside. I've made a crust up. This is black peppercorns. Some of my spicy paprika that's smoked. There's a little bit of noble sweet paprika, which was the last of it. A little bit of garlic and a little bit of chives. So that is our coating for it. Now the thing is, when you put a coating on, it's not going to be overpowering. This is pretty overpowering when you taste it, but when you slice it thin to have a piece of the Capocollo, it's not going to be massively overpowering. Just press and rub that in. Off. So once we've got it all spiced up, we go in with our collagen wrap. Wrap the size. We fold it up in it. And then up and down on each side. This is not a professional butcher's knot. Just put a tie on there. And get it close enough that you can shape the meat up, but you don't want too much. Right. If you've ever had one of those roasts that they put in a elastic sort of bag, and you know that when you cut it, you end up cutting string off more than you're cutting the roast. Cut a length of string. That one in underneath. We'll just tie those together, the tail of the first one, the end of this one. That gives us a little handle to hang it up by. And we'll also, down the bottom here, just put an extra string and a Capocollo tag. 1303 divided by 100 times 70. Gives us 912 grams we're aiming for a dry weight for this one. They are all hanging in a cupboard in my laundry. I can close the laundry door, leave the window open so there's no heating in here, and it keeps everything cool. At the moment, because it's so rainy, we've got the humidity that we need, so everything's gonna sit pretty happy. Just need to make sure that nothing's touching each other. So that's close, but it's not touching. Over this side, we've got a little bit of sag just because of what I've set up is sitting on a little bit of an angle. But yeah, it's working. Nothing's touching the walls, nothing's touching each other. We've got the salami in on the back row. Again, the same sort of deal. Calabrese salami, a start date and the start weight and the goal weight. All right, next up we smoke the bacon. As you can see, it's got a nice glossy finish to it, and it's actually sticky as well. That is the pellicule that's developed, and that will help the smoke stick to the meat. All right, I wasn't going to go into too much detail on this, but I was actually at Bunnings yesterday, which is a hardware store, much like a Lowe's, and someone was asking me how to run a smoker. So I figured I'd go into a wee bit of detail with it. All right, so down the bottom here, I've got some cedar wood. Now cedar burns resinous, but it burns quick. So I've got the smoker fully closed down and gonna leave this flap open so I can burn that resinous part off, and I'm not gonna put the meat in until I've done that. So we start with the resinous wood, which is gonna light it quick. Then we come up to a more denser hardwood. In this case, it's jarrah. And then on top, we've got the start of the charcoal. Over here, we have chickens, of course. This is my backyard. And I have some spare material in case I need it. I can grab it. It's all prepared, ready to go. So we've got some extra of the jarrah. As I said, nice dense hardwood. The cedar, extra splits of that, all ready to go. We've got some more charcoal. I've got a bunch of charcoal. And here we have applewood, which is what I'm using as my smoking wood. That's all in soaking in the water. All right, let's fire it up. So a bit of flame underneath. As I said, cedar's perfect for it. It will just catch and go. So perfect starting material. We just want to open it to the air like that. So all the smoke's coming upwards, and it's going to catch the heavier materials, which are less resinous, on fire. Okay, with most of that cedar having burnt down, we're starting to get that jarrah on fire. So we're going to come in to the center. Just drop a couple pieces of charcoal, let them get going. You know, the Lincoln log pattern works great, lets you get some air up through the center, and by putting some of the charcoal in that chimney, it gets that charcoal going quicker. So our cedar's burnt down, we've got some charcoal on there, so we're down to the jarrah and the charcoal. and we've got a little bit of the moistened apple wood on there. So we are starting to produce some smoke. Once the cedar was off, then I put these on to the cold smoker. Normally you'd try and hang them, but because I've got a small horizontal smoker, there's not enough room to hang them. So I'm going skin side down, and that will keep some of the moisture in them. We've got the one with the most moisture. This one's the pumped one. So that one's sitting towards the heat. It can withstand the heat a bit better. This one, which is just brine soaked, is sitting away from the heat. So that has less moisture to lose. We open up our exhaust just to get a bit of smoke flowing through it, which we've got. Don't know how visible it is. Okay, and then we're bringing it up to temperature. We want to get about 100 Celsius or 200 to 225 in Fahrenheit. So we'll keep an eye on it, slowly bring it up, and after a while we're going to start checking the meat. It should take about 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4. Just depends on how consistently you hold the temperature to bring your internal temperature up. It's not sure the time in because I don't keep track of it. It's done when it's done. Probably about 45 minutes from it going on. Just topped up the wood. You can see we're sitting just under, but pretty close to that temperature that I'm after. Bacon is looking fantastic. All right, so we want to get the internal temperature up in the eye of the meat here. Obviously we've got a fair way to go. We're looking for about 71 Celsius, which is about 160 Fahrenheit. That one's sitting on 30.3. Wipe off the probe. This one, again, we're going in the eye, the thicker part of the meat. Being a thinner piece of meat, it's coming up quicker. So that one's sitting at 34.4. But still got a fair way to go for both of them. What I'm going to do at this stage, as you can see, getting a lot more smoke on this end because it is the end exposed. Just turn it around, make sure that end's getting some of the loving. Move it back a little. Same with this one. All right, so there we go. Turn it around. Let's close it back up. So we're up to about 50 degrees on the internal at the moment. So it's coming along. What I'm going to do now is just flip it over just so we get a bit more smoke exposure to the meat. I've retained moisture by keeping the skin side down. You can see how gorgeous that the smoke has come through, mainly on the ends because that's right underneath the vent, and again on that one. So flipped over, a little bit of that smoke come up from that side. That one I've turned it so the eye's sitting closest to the heat at the moment because that's the part that's going to take the most time to cook. This end down here is going to be pretty close to temperature already, but I'm just reading the temperature off the eye meat because that's the thickest part. Okay folks, this one, which is closer to the heat, is pretty much spot on the money at 72. This one's still down a little bit, so I'm going to take this one off as much as I can. I'm going to resist temptation and put it in the fridge so we can carve it up tomorrow. I'll just move that one in closer to the heat, so it's just getting a bit more heat to get things moving along. Okay, this one has jumped up in temperature. It's now sitting up at 74.7. So yep, we're over the 71. We are safe. It is cooked. So they can come off now and go to the fridge as well. Next day, we're all cooled down, looking delicious. Nice smoke covering. Maybe even a little bit too smoky, but hey, smoke's flavour. Glossy, beautiful, mate. This one, which got cooked a little further, a little bit darker, a little bit smokier, and also lost a bit of the fat out of it. Now what I need to do is trim them up. I'm going to hand slice them. I don't have a slicer, so first thing we're going to do is just trim them to shape. So that there's that one with the commercial cure that's been injected. Looking awesome. And this one's got the Gamma Brine, which is out of the Charcuterie Diary book. You see a nice line of smoke coming in here. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, these will keep in the fridge for a fair while. They are a cured meat, plus they've been cooked with the hot smoking, so they will keep in the fridge for a fair while. But what I'm going to do is slice them up by hand, bag them in individual portions, and then put them in the freezer so I can just grab some out whenever I want. I mean, it's only me in the house, and if I eat all this bacon, then my weight problem's going to be a bit more of a problem. All right, so that needs to happen. I need to taste test this lot. I probably should get a pair of tongs out, but hey. So that one is our commercial one. There we have the Gamma cured. Hey, taste test time. The commercial one, really nice smoky flavour. A wee hint of maple. If I was doing it again, I'd probably add some more maple syrup to that commercial mix. Okay, this is the Gamma cure. Oh, that one's delicious. Don't know how to describe it. You got the smokiness there to it, but yeah, that Gamma cure is really, really, really good. All right, folks. Well, I got to finish trimming up the ends. Well, I've got the ends trimmed up. I've got to finish frying up the trimmed ends and cutting this up and putting it away. That's it for this video. I'll do a last video on the series, which will be once I get the meats that are dried out. So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and bye for now.